Today, I'm going to read several things to you that have been a part of my becoming and letting those first two Unity principles come alive in me so that I could be a savage daughter and a savage son and live in the boldness of who I was meant to be as a God being. And so, in the Gospel of Dr. Seuss, in a chat with my who, in my who-ness one day, my what raised his head and had something to say. You're not just a who, and in fact, not at all. Your who-ness an illusion, a specter, y'all. You're a what, not a when, not a why or a how. You're an essence that only exists in the now. Not your names or your jobs, not your thoughts or your pals, not a man, not a woman, not a guy, not a gal. You're a what. You're a what, it is clear, no matter when you became. You're a what at the core, no matter what they may say. You're a what, not a where, no matter where you may be. You're a what, not a why, in God's mind. Can't you see? Then what am I truly? What am I truly, and how do I know? I spoke with a question in a tone soft and low. Like a whisper returned. My what was so clear. You're a spirit that's holy and worthy, my dear. It matters not much, all your human designs, for at the end of the day, you're a what that's sublime. Not a color or shape, a belief or a thought. You're much more than you know. All these things you are not. Transcending all titles, experiences too, love, life, and light. It's the what that is you. So when you look in the mirror and you peer in your eyes and play with the wheres and the whens and the whys, remember the goodness, the essence, the truth. You're a what that is holy. You are God through and through. So many of us have forgotten this lesson. So many of us are defining our lives and our humanity by the labels we've put on ourselves, by the titles, by the experiences, by the relationships. And it's not what we are. It never has been what we are. It never will be what we are. But I want to start today's meeting with a true confession. Hi, I'm Richard, and I'm a recovering, bashful, fearful, intimidated, spineless, apprehensive, and gutless chicken. You know, all kidding aside, for a good portion of my life, I tiptoed through life on eggshells. Let's just put the guts on the table. Always concerned not to upset or to bother or to disturb anyone, only to realize that there was only one person disturbed, and that was me. Because I was not living in integrity with the divine nature of my very soul. I was so concerned about what you thought of me, good, bad, or otherwise, that I had imprisoned myself in a jail cell, where I began to forget who I actually was. In fact, I forgot who I was. I'd look in the mirror and it's like, who are you? And what are you all about? Gary Zukav used to have on his phone, the great author, he used to call up his phone, and he and I were friends at one point. Well, we're still friends, we just don't see each other. But you'd call his phone and he'd say on the other end of the line, who are you and what do you want? And then he paused and he said, and if you think those are difficult questions, most people go an entire lifetime never having answered them. I've been on a journey of trying to answer that call in many, many different places. But I was so anchored to everyone else's opinion about me that I faded into the background. The Christ of me, the Buddha of me, the essence of me faded into the background of inauthenticity and boredom and obscurity. And then something happened. Well, a number of somethings happened. It doesn't happen all at once, or it didn't for me. I turned 60 years old this month. It started maybe when I was 20. But it took me till I was 60 to finally get it. I don't have to apologize for who I am. I don't have to apologize for the way I think. I don't have to apologize for what I feel. And I want to extend that to each of you as well. I got tired of playing small. I got tired of hiding. And I got tired of not recognizing myself in the mirror. And I made a decision. And then I made another decision. And then I fell down. And I made another decision. See, that little 12-step thing I did at the beginning, that's a very real addiction to hiding, a very real addiction to not accepting myself. And I want to invite you into that 12-step meeting that was one decision after another. The time had come to lay down the worry and create, as Captain Kirk might say, a spiritual mission to explore strange new worlds within me, to seek out new life and new civilizations, and to boldly go where no Richard Burdick had ever gone before. Read this with me. These are the voyages of an unfolding soul. These are the challenges that we throw down, the gauntlet that's thrown down at the altar of your divinity every time we get together. The altar of my divinity. These are the voyages of one who says, I'm no longer willing to play small, but I'm willing to be the magnificent creation that God created me to be. Today is the first talk in a 4-part series called Be. Take your hand and place it upon your heart and say, be with me. Be. Again, be. So many of us are more worried about doing than being. It's the old Frank Sinatra song. Do, be. Do, be. Do, be, do, be, do. But we're caught in this endless prison and this endless trap between doing and being, and ours is to be. And so this 4-part series is going to start with the words, be bold. Be bold. There we go. We got a bold man over there. Thank you, Atiba. In fact, I want an amen from everyone being completely bold. I'm going to say it, then you give me an amen. Be bold. Be bold, be courageous, be open, be authentic, be intrepid, be audacious. You have permission. And I was talking to Tempe and Jody earlier. So many places come and say, you need to fit small into my little box here of my religion and my church. At Unity North, we are the opposite. We're telling you, break open, kick the box open, kick the doors out, and maybe let that part of yourself that's been waiting for a breath for so long finally express. There are those that would call us a cult. And we are actually the opposite of a cult. The cult would tell you, this is the way you're supposed to think. What we tell you is think. Think for yourself. Think out loud. Think proudly. Think absolutely, knowing that you are a gift to the planet. So the first 2 unity principles, there's nothing much deep about that. There's a presence of God doing business as each and every one of you, but I'm going to kind of beat that horse over and over and over today until we get it into our little minds that we don't have to play small anymore. Do it all through the portal of love. You see, when we talk about being bold, we're not talking about doing it from our personality, but from the individuality, the way God is doing business as you. Yeah, a lot of us look pretty screwed up on the outside. And we can be kind of rude on the outside. I'm not talking about kicking doors down and taking names and making enemies. That's the personality. I'm talking about shining your light so brightly that the people next to you cannot help but know that that light exists in them. To be the light of the Christ, the Buddha, the Tao, the Atman so brightly that the people who come within 3 feet of you are feeling an aura and a presence that is unapologetic, that is unabashedly being itself. Now, you'd think this would be the easiest thing to do, wouldn't you? Who else knows you better than you, right? You think that with all of the sages and prophets that have counseled this throughout history, the ancient teachers and philosophers have all said it. What did Jesus say? Let's just see what put it up there. Together, you are the light of the world. Jesus, in that same scripture, absolutely knew the human tendency to put our light down, to want to hide, to fit in. We have created a human race that looks like one big gang. We're just doing whatever we can do to fit in with this gang or that gang. And you can decide what those gangs are. And gangs will forever dominate the landscape of the human race until we stop playing the game. Instead, we say, no, I'm not going to fit into your box, but I will let my box complement your box, and your box complement mine, and somehow we're going to make our way home together. He said, put your light on a hill, a city on a hill. How many of us really do that? Let our light shine so brightly that the other hills, the other mountains know. And then, of course, there is the Buddha. The Buddha, in his final instructions, so it must have been pretty important because this is the last thing he said to his students. Let's read it together. Be lamps unto yourselves. Be your own confidence. Hold to the truth within yourselves. Pretty amazing thinker. Be true to the truth within yourself. Not Joel's truth, not David's truth, not Nancy or Eileen, maybe Peter, I don't know. But hold fast to the truth that you know, and to know that it is necessary. You are a cell within the body of God. You are a cell within the body of love. And if you don't bring that cell forward, the body begins to die. And I think the human race is showing us, the earthly journey is showing us right here, right now, that we're not all playing our part to the highest extent. To be a savage daughter, to be a savage son, to be the light of the world. And certainly we know that line from William Shakespeare, that most famous line, to thine own self together. Take your hand and put it upon your heart with me right now. And I want you to speak to that inner child, speak to the shadow within you together. To thine own self be true. Breathe it in and let's say it one more time. To thine own self being true. I believe that the human race is suffering from varying degrees of identity crisis right now. And the remedy to that is to let our identity, not our personality, but let the identity of who we know, how God is doing business as each of us, begin to shine more brightly than it's ever shone before. Today I'm going to share a number of poems and readings that were a part of my evolutionary process, found not necessarily in churches. Surprise, God happens in backroom bars. Not for me, though. No. God happens in the quiet moments of sitting at home, feeling the sadness. God happens in the moments of saying goodbye to a loved one. Yesterday, I was saying goodbye to Deanna Fleener, a member of our congregation. She's hanging on, but she's ready to go. And God happened at her bedside. And God will show up when you don't expect it, if you are an open vessel. And there was light in that room for everybody, her whole family, for her, for me, and especially for Bill. Tears were flowing, and God showed up. One of the places that God showed up for me to challenge me to be more myself was in the dressing room of a Broadway, I wasn't on Broadway, I was in San Jose, California, dressing room of a Broadway production of Cabaret. I was a shy, retiring, scared little guy that said, maybe I can sing in the chorus here. Well, anybody who's done any theater, there are people in the theater that no longer make apologies for who they are. In fact, that dressing room was full of people that never once made an apology for who they are. They were living life wide open. And I watched them. And they had a different life than I had. They expressed very differently than I expressed. But I remember seeing God in that moment where people who had been subjugated, kicked to the side, gay men who were told they were less than. In the church that I grew up in, they were told they were less than. And I saw them, and I saw such joy for the music, such joy for the laughter, such joy for the full expression. I was the one straight guy in the dressing room, over in the corner, watching, going, I want a little bit of what they have as a heterosexual man. I want a little bit of that unabashed, unapologetic idea. And I remember the first time I saw the movie, or the Broadway play, La Cage aux Folles. God happened in La Cage aux Folles in the opening scene. Transgender women sang a song that was the gospel that I needed to hear in the right moment to go, why have I been hiding? I am what I am. I am my own special creation. So come take a look, give me the hook or the ovation. It's my world, and I want to have a little pride in my world, and it's not a place I have to hide in. Your life is a sham till you can say, hey world, I am what I am. And here was this heterosexual man sitting in the middle of the dressing room off to the corner, watching, saying, I'm getting permission from people who have deep wounds, deeper than I ever experienced. How dare I play small? How dare I not be fully wide open? How dare I not be the I am that God created me to be? And I began to come out of a shell just a little bit. And it was not in a church that happened. You see, there comes a time when each of us comes to the realization that we can be free. We can be free of the prisons of the good opinions of others. I had a friend tell me, boy, you got to free yourself of the good opinion of others or you're going to die. And she was absolutely right. That jail cell opened up just a little bit, and there was more light within, and there was certainly more light on the outside, free of whether someone approves of the way that I think, the way that I dress, the way that I feel, and the unique way that God shows up as me, and the unique way that I understand and I relate to this divine essence. How dare anybody on the planet of a spiritual authority tell me that I have to feel God the way they feel God? There are cults happening on the planet, but they're not happening in Unity churches. We are opening up our minds and our hearts for the free expression of knowing God. Bring your understanding of the infinite into the room, and let's talk about it, and let's share. And then this body, as the cells come together and share their truth and their magnificence and their holiness, suddenly the world is a little bit brighter, and the Christ is more evident. That's the Savior we're waiting for enough of us to play our part, and the collective Christ to say, no more. We don't play small anymore. You know, it used to be that we said that you had to get older for this realization to happen. It was a great excuse. Oh, with age comes wisdom. But look at the people that are coming onto the planet now. The young people. They're impatient people. And their personalities can be a little bit off-putting at times. You know, as the old dog learning new tricks, sometimes they can be a little bit irritating. But that's looking at the personality. I need to look beneath the surface of the personality and the delivery to see the truth that is being born on this planet today. And I need to be the old dog learning a new trick. They're not waiting around till they're 40, 50, or 60 years old to shine their light. They're coming in boldly. They've given us permission to do the same. This was a poem that I found unexpectedly on Facebook many years ago. It became a part of my great awakening. It's called Permission. And I'm extending the permission from the young people that have given me permission to be myself to each of you. It's by Rachel Alana. You have permission to inhabit your own life, to say no and to say yes. Sounds a lot like Jesus there. To inhabit your own knowing, your own body, and all you allow or do not allow within it. To love who you love, to feel, to inhabit anger, contentment, joy, and heavy sorrow. To be full of strength and to know weakness. Permission to stand for something or to walk away. To find rest, to tell your story. To give or take what is yours and to never explain why you leave or why you stay. You have permission, grand permission, to have a voice and to use it and to let others have theirs too. To add your voice to the grand mosaic, your brilliant tile to humanity, and to not be silenced. You have permission to tell the truth and to let others tell theirs, or to be quiet, to choose to engage in the old wars, to win the game, or to lose it, or to stand firm, or to find something higher. That's what we're doing here. Let's find something higher. Quit looking at the news and the world as we see it today, and let's stand for something higher. To know when not to listen, or when to be cracked open. To let the silver spores of being infuse your life, or to watch your tender soul unfurl and come to flower. You have permission to be wild, so wild, and to live in, under, to live through, and to experience belief and what it is to follow. To lead, or to gather all you own, your whole being if need be, and take up your sacred path. You have permission to live in your full truth today, even if that truth is gone tomorrow. To be reborn, stunned like a baby gasping from the womb, only to find rest in the warmth and the soft breast of new knowing. That's what we do here, new knowing. Surely God was here and I didn't know it. Sounds like the Hebrew scriptures. You have permission to follow the call of your soul, even if it doesn't make sense, even if it is inconvenient, even if it only forms more questions, even if it only brings you freedom or a heavy burden. For you are not a herd beast. We often brag that we are rebels and mavericks here at Unity. We found each other. It's because we're not herd beasts. We're not lemmings going off the cliff that the human race is going off right now. The world needs us to put an anchor in and say, nope, let's turn the other way. You are a being of light, individuating your way out of the sleeping tribe. You are an archangel exalted to human. So many people are worried about what's going to happen when they die. A human becoming an angel. You are an angel who became human. Start acting like it. Spreading the great arms of your wings into life. You are a boat builder, a clockmaker, a worker at the compass, full of beauty, complexity, and magnificent contradiction. You, my dear, are the singer of the soul. Never, ever asked for permission. The young people coming onto the planet today are not asking for permission. They're living this. I think the time has come for us, each and every one of us, to live it, not just in theory, not just on Sunday morning, not just when it's convenient. You have permission to live fully every moment of your life. Yes? Oh, that's a little lackluster. Yeah, I think so. Maybe. Today is a talk about paying it forward. There is a long line of people who saw something in me that I could not see for myself. It was God showing up in the dressing room of a Broadway play. It was God showing up on Facebook, weeding through the weeds of junk that's on there to find that poem. It's showing up in the Holy Grants Cafe when you have a conversation with somebody who says, I know who you are. Stop playing small. I know who you are. And taking that as an invitation to the greatness and not a rejection of the way you're behaving. You see, we're talking about the Christ. We're not talking about the personality. And our job is to call forth, to stop the endless game of hide and seek that the human race is playing. I'm yelling today, ollie, ollie, oxen free. Come out, wherever you are. Because somebody did that for me. A lot of somebodies did that for me. And I would dishonor the good that they brought to my life if I didn't try to pay that forward. If I didn't reach into your whole, your soul, your heaped up soul and said, there's more of you, Jean. There's more of you to know. There's more of you to experience, honey. Although I'm not too sure about honey. I think she's living out full wide open. There's more of you, Gail. There's more of you, Tony. That's what we do here. That's why it's important. There's nothing necessarily profound about today's message. It's unity principles. But man, if you don't have a firm foundation of these principles, the house is going to crumble. Siddhartha called out the Buddha from each one of us. Jesus called out the Christ. Krishna called out the Atman. Lao Tzu called out the Tao. And we are to call ourselves out, ollie, ollie, oxen free. Community is not a small thing. You know, you sometimes wonder, why do we go to community? I can get the experience at home. I don't know about you, but I found that birds of a feather flock together and that I need you to hold me accountable. Accountability is part of the spiritual practice. And I need you to let me hold you accountable. And we join hands and hearts and voices and songs and prayers and intentions, and suddenly the world's a better place. Because then we take that energy out those doors and we find one person. I know who you are. I don't know who you're pretending to be, but I know who you are. These are called anamkaras. I have a very Celtic-based spirituality. I'm very earth-based in my spirituality. I find God as much by a redwood tree as I do in a sanctuary. And there's a term called anamkara. Say that with me. Anamkara. This means soul friend. Soul friend. The community of soul friends, of accountability, of seeing with the eyes that are deeper than the human eyes, hearing with the ears that are deeper than the human ears. I'm going to invite you